Hello, 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 and good evening, everyone, afternoon and morning, wherever you may be. I just wanted to get on here tonight and talk to you a little bit about gut health. What is gut health and all of that before we get into any of the GLP-1 things. It's important that you know where everything starts. So I have a little class here I want to teach from my script book, game plan script book. We have a diamond, a friend of mine. She wrote this book to help us teach. So I'm going to talk to you about your gut. What is your gut? Where does it start? How many people know where your gut starts? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you it actually starts right here. Mouth. Your gut includes your mouth, your esophagus, and your stomach, your small intestines, your liver, your gallbladder, and pancreas, your large intestines, which is your colon, and your rectum, where the poop comes out. Yep. It starts where the food goes in and where the food comes out, or where the food ends. In your mouth, food is chewed, and your mouth has digestive enzymes in it, so those digestive enzymes are released. And it starts to work at breaking down your foods. The acid in there helps keep unwanted fungi, bacteria, and parasites in your food. The food then goes to your stomach and to your small intestines where most nutrition absorption occurs. The small intestine is most sensitive and prone to gut damage. In the large intestines, bacteria assist with digestion and detoxification. So in your large and small intestines, that's where your vitamins, your minerals, your leads, your pesticides, herbicides, that's where those are all absorbed, and your body tries to place them in places that it needs, or waste them out of your system. And sometimes we can't do that. We don't get there. But let's see. 30% of the U.S. population, that's 1 out of 3 people, have some form of irritable bowel syndromes. 84% of all cases are from overgrown of bacteria in the gut. Yes, we can overgrow bad bacteria in our stomach, in our intestines, in our colons. But the good news is, because the gut can heal itself, your disease can be healed. Gut disease, gut health, healed gut. Makes sense, right? So, bacteria in the gut starts to grow while you are in the utero. We all know what the utero is, right? When you're in the womb of the mother. The utero is most developed by the time you are 3. Your gut is fully functional and fully developed by the age of 3. It's well documented that exposures to dirt, bacteria, and animal aid in the development of a healthier immune system. Today, we don't have constant exposure to dirt. Today, we don't have exposure to dirt. Okay, let's go there for a minute. The reason we don't have exposure to dirt isn't because there isn't any dirt outside. The fact is that parents today aren't letting their children eat dirt. Scientists have said that eating dirt is a sign of different health issues. When I was a kid, I ate dirt. I made mud pies. I eat mud pies. I ate worms. I'd eat plants in the dirt. Kids don't get that exposure today, so their stomach isn't being trained at 3 years old from eating dirt to fight that germs and bacteria and viruses. And you know what's in dirt. It's not clean. It's full of gook. But if they're not eating it, their bodies aren't learning how to fight when the bacteria are entered into their system later on in life. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, if autoimmune diseases were measured as one group, they would rival the number of Americans with heart disease. Let me repeat that again, okay? If autoimmune diseases were measured as one group, they would rival the number of Americans with heart disease. The earlier antibiotics are used, the more damage they do. So if you're giving your baby antibiotics, that's what it's saying. The earlier an antibiotic is introduced to the gut, the less your gut is going to produce things to fight bacteria that gets into your gut. So the antibiotics are killing the good bacteria that your body needs to help fight bacteria, germs, and viruses. The earlier antibiotics are used, the more damage they do. If they are used too early, before bacteria can populate the entire gut, you risk losing the bacteria for your entire lifetime. Parents, stop giving your babies antibiotics. You're not helping them build bacteria. You're not helping them. Children who are born vaginally have different gut bacteria than those born by cesarean. Prebiotics and healthy bacteria and prebiotics feed those bacteria. The earlier a child takes probiotics, the more beneficial their gut is. Why is gut health so important? You have about 3 to 4.5 pounds of bacteria in your gut alone. There are highly organized microbe world with a pecking order. Some species control others. They serve many functions that if our gut were sterilized, we would likely not survive. If your gut was sterile, you'd be dead. You need the bacteria to stay alive. We are symbiotic with our gut bacteria like an oxpecker bird that eats the bugs off of a rhinoceros. My little bird sits on his back and goes, that's what he's doing. They sound like an alarm to let the rhinoceros know humans are close, to save them from being poached. Maybe that's true, maybe they do. So the pecking sounds an alarm. The human digestive tract is a long tube open to the world as its mouth and at its end. So if we eat and drink a plethora of toxins, why don't we die? It's because the whole tube is coated with a bacteria layer, providing a natural barrier against the invaders. If the gut is damaged, you are a city without a wall of protection. You are open to viruses, parasites, bad bacteria, toxic substance, dangerous chemicals, candida, which is yeast, and so much more. Not only does the gut flora protect us, but it also helps us absorb nutrients. Remember I said your small and large intestines, when foods broke down, that they take the nutrients from there and they disperse them as where we need them in our bodies. Without it, not only does the gut flora protect us, but it also helps us absorb nutrients. Without it, you become malnourished. It sets up a degenerative chain in digestive wall, which further impacts your ability to absorb the good things in from your foods. What are some things that can damage your gut? Antibiotics. What do they do? They kill your energy vitamins like B1, B2, B3, B6, B12, vitamin K, magnesium, and potassium. Kill them right off the top. Done. Antacids. They diminish folic. They diminish calcium. folic acid, iron, and vitamin B and vitamin D. An antidepressant. They knock out the coenzyme Q10 and vitamin B12. Anti-inflammatories like cortisone and prednisone, they deplete your body of calcium, zinc, and vitamin C and D. I was a prednisone taker until I found Young Living, and I am so glad I'm not on prednisone anymore. I haven't been for years. Blood pressure lowering drugs, they steal your calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium. Now, I'm not telling you to stop taking any of your medications. I'm saying that you need to supplement your body with more because of what your prescriptions are taking away, okay? Let's just be clear on that. I want you to take your blood pressure medicine until otherwise told. Cholesterol lowering drugs, they take away your coenzyme Q10. Hormone replacement therapies, they steal magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin C, and folic acid. Aminoglycosides like anthromycin, antifungals like nystatins, birth control pills, stress. I know stress is not a drug, but it is. If your stress levels are balanced, then your body can deal with stress. If your stress levels aren't balanced and they're going like this, your cortisol levels, you can make yourself sick from being overstressed. So 75% of physicians' visits are for stress-related ailments. Old age, alcoholism, and pollution. Those are all things that can damage the gut. Exposure to toxic substances, radiation, blue lights from your computer, or radiation from high cell phone areas, x-rays on your teeth, MRIs at the airport, all of those things, extreme climates, diet, especially if you feed it with a lot of sugar, all those things feed bad bacteria in your gut. Or they take and deplete your body from minerals and vitamins that we need. A diet high in fiber from grains like breakfast cereals and breads has a huge effect on the gut flora. Bottle-fed babies have a different gut flora than breastfed babies. Think about it. The mother's nipple is sanitary, so not too much is getting on there and touching it. So when that goes in the baby's mouth, it's pretty sterile versus the bottle. Well, the nipple on a bottle is open to everything airborne. If it falls on the floor, then it's germ city, right? So that's why there's a difference between bottle-fed gut flora and nursing mom breastfed gut flora. Makes perfect sense. Prolonged fasting, starvation, and overeating seriously alters the composition of your gut flora and can lead to lifelong health problems. Opportunistic bacteria can get out of control because they are fed by the wrong things, or because the good bacteria that keeps them in check is dying out from being attacked in the gut wall. So your things get in our gut that chomp away at our good bacteria, like yeast. Just saying. For example, when Candida breaks the gut wall, its cells attached to the gut lining, pulling roots through it. We can see it in a microscope. Particular partially digested foods get through these holes where the roots are and into the bloodstream, where the immune system recognizes it as a foreign object, and then it starts to attack it. So if you have a hole in your gut and food is leaching into your body, it's being rejected. So you're not getting the absorption of the nutrients that your body needs, and that leads to chronic illness. The same is true with the human endocrine system, which regulates all of our hormones. Very important to keep your endocrine system and your hormones balanced. You can go on a pill, but it only masks the symptoms. that are likely getting worse. It doesn't fix the root. I don't want to mask symptoms. I want the problem to be fixed. Raise your hand if that's you. I don't want a mask. I want it fixed. The art of medicine consists of amusing the patient while nature cures the disease. From Voltaire. That was a quote from Voltaire. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, the brilliant neurologist I referenced, said the human body has an incredible ability to heal itself, giving it the right help. I do not believe that anyone, no matter how ill or disabled, is beyond improvement. When working in neurosurgery, it never ceases to amaze me how remarkably well the children's brain recovered after serious operations was detectable. However, nature does not work that fast. Getting ill happens amazingly fast, but recovery takes much longer. I tell my GAP patients to brace themselves for at least 2 years of hard work, sometimes even longer. Now, goals of GAPS. What is GAPS? GAPS is gut and psychology syndrome. Goal 1. What's your goal 1? It's coming. You know I'm going to tell you. It's your diet. Clean up your diet. Clean up the digestive tract so it stops being the biggest source of toxicity in the human body. 2. What am I talking about all week? Supplementation. After you cut out things, you need to put good things back in so they absorb the nutrients. Number 3, detoxification and lifestyle changes. So it doesn't happen again, we need to detox and make changes. Let's walk through the steps of what that looks like. And I'll explain the GAPS diet to you later. And if that's the route you want to take, I highly recommend you snag Dr. McBride's book at gapsdiet.com. Grab his book at gapsdiet.com and get lost in the book. Whatever route you take, the slow route, the fast route, the intense route, or a one at a time route, remember this quote. About 8% of the food on the shelves at the supermarket today didn't exist 100 years ago. Feed Your Brain, Lose Your Belly by Larry McCleary. What you put in your body matters. Don't eat Frankenfood, foods that were created in a lab. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Isn't that the old saying? If there are more than a handful of ingredients on the label, there's too many ingredients. You're getting processed food. Processed food damages the gut lining. If you're in a healing protocol, the food you choose is mission critical to seeing results. Let's make a list of the 3 biggest offenders and then the 3 things that you want in your diet to heal. First, we're going to start off with the offenders, and I'm pretty sure most of you know what they are. Let's go. Dairy, gluten. Number 1, sugar. The healers, fermented food, such as keef, yogurt, sauerkraut, pickles, anything fermented, pickled beets, sourdough. Next is bone broth, not soup broth, bone broth. That's where you take a carcass, whether it's beef bone, pork bone, chicken bone, turkey bone, and you boil it until all the marrow inside has come out. That is bone broth. Then you strain it and you drink just the broth from the bone. Good fats. Sunflower butter, olive oil, walnuts, good fats. Probiotics. Acidophilus, that's a probiotic. Young Living has a probiotic. It's green. It's amazing. I take it every morning. And I take a probiotic at night. It's called Life 9. I feed my body while I sleep with probiotics. What that's doing is that's putting in those microbes, that good bacteria to eat the bad bacteria. It's going after candida. It's going after all the yuckies in my gut. So I can't tell you how important it is to take a probiotic and a prebiotic and an enzyme before meals. You got to have help if as we age, things slow down. That's what supplementation is all about. It's about bringing back the balance of what was as we age, so we don't decline in health with aging. That's what supplementation is all about. So I said enzymes, and the last one is omegas. Now, you may want to just block your ears for this one, or cover your eyes, or do whatever it is you got to do, because I'm going to get down into the nitty-gritty with sugar. I was a sugar junkie, and I was sick. I had so many stomach issues, I just couldn't see it. Until I stopped eating sugar, I didn't realize just how much sugar I was taking. And when I stopped inhaling sugar and I felt my body heal, it's such an amazing feeling. The strength you get, the weight loss you get, the muscle building that you get, all because I reduced one thing, and that's sugar. Well, let's start with a popular offender. Pop, soda, Pepsi, Coke, who drinks all of that? Mountain Dew? Yeah. The average American drinks 597 cans of soda a year. One can has 15 or more teaspoons of sugar. Imagine sitting there in your sugar bowl and just eating 15 teaspoons during the time it takes you to drink your pop. One study measured the effects of 100 grams of sugar on a neutrophilus, a form of white blood cell that's involved in immunity. Within an hour of ingesting, neutrophil activity dropped 50%. Sugar lowers your body's immune system 50%. Using fake sugar is no better. Significant studies have linked aspartame, Splenda, NutraSweet, Equal, and others to various forms of different cancers. A major soft drink company had to cut aspartame out of their diet product after sales plummeted because it was linked to a cancer. Instead, they switched to sucralose, which is derived from an insecticide compound. Know your sugar substitutes, folks. That's all I can say. When in doubt, search it out. I do. I'm constantly searching ingredients. The only sugar I trust are stevias, which come from a natural plant. I grow stevia in my garden every year. I have a jar downstairs that I dry in a dehydrator. I dehydrate it and I ground it up. And when I need a little sugar, it's a pinch. A pinch is like 2 teaspoons of sugar to me. When I would drink coffee and I would put 2 teaspoons of sugar in my coffee every morning, if I put a pinch of my powdered stevia, I'm good. And I know it's helping. It's not hurting. It's not I'm not getting a chemical reaction. What did it say it was? Insecticide. My Splenda, or my stevia, does not have insecticides because it's an organic garden. I use no pesticides, no insecticides. So, I also can bees. And with bees, you get raw honey. And honey is a sweetener, and you can use honey in your coffee, you can use honey in your tea, you can use honey on your toast. I mean, you can use honey as a natural sweetener. And then we have another natural sugar. So we have stevia, honey, and I live in Pennsylvania, and there's plenty of this. I even got trees in my own yard. Maple syrup. Yum, yum. Even then, I use very small. It's funny if you go and read labels and you look to see where sugar is really hidden. It is in everything. Lunch meat? Seriously, what do you need sugar in your bologna for? Spaghetti sauce, white bread, salad dressing. I grabbed yogurt. It's the worst. It's hard to find yogurt that doesn't have pounds of sugar in it. And if it's sugar-free, then it's got artificial sweeteners in it. So I get organic, plain yogurt. There's no sugar, no artificial sweetener. And I was a vanilla flavored yogurt person, and there is over 33% sugar in my vanilla yogurt. And yogurt, you're thinking yogurt's healthy, full of sugars. Read your labels, please. Okay. 7 grams of sugar in most one single serving of yogurt. So it is important to read labels and look for sugar. From a study in JAMA with the Harvard School of Health, researchers gathered 15 years of data on 40,000 people. They found those who took in 25% of their daily calories from sugar were more than twice as likely to die of heart disease. We think of food, but not sugar. But sugar is hidden in other places. Sugar is found in toothpaste. Why? You're brushing your teeth to prevent tooth decay from sugar, and they put sugar in your toothpaste to encourage tooth decay. Mind-boggling. Children's chewable vitamins. Read the sugar content, parents. Chewing gum, flavored teas. Have you looked at a flavored tea? Almost 50% sugar? Yeah, no thanks. I went to a restaurant the other day and I ordered a sweet tea. You know how Bojangles has sweet tea. Well, I'm not at all. If you don't know Bojangles, I feel for you. But if you do know Bojangles, you know what I'm talking about when I say sweet tea. This tea was 4 times sweeter than Bojangles sweet tea. I went and got a cup of unsweetened tea and put this much of their sweet tea in that. The unsweetened tea was still too sweet. That's how sweet that sweet tea was. And that was in New York. We don't ever get sweet tea in New York. But anyway, yeah, watch your sugar on your teas. Watch it in processed meat. Watch it in vitamins. Watch it in toothpaste. The average person consumes over 17 teaspoons of sugar a day, or 57 pounds a year. You should be under 10 grams a day of sugar. If you are on the gaps, then you should have 0 grams of sugar. Anything more than that is causing gut damage. Now, on to the next. Sugar, gluten. Now we have flour, and then you have einkorn. Einkorn is completely different kind of flour. It does not hit your gut even close to the same way. It doesn't have the gluten in it. With that said, let's look at bread. We eat it daily in everything. Cereal, bagels, sandwiches, pasta, pizza, desserts. For the last 50 years, wheat has been hybridized and crossbred with other grains and species, then overly sprayed with chemical fertilizers and pesticide. One study alone from the USDA found 16 different pesticides in whole wheat flour. Once they actually get it to the lab after using it genetically modified seeds, it's considered enriched. If you see the word enriched on any of your bread, pasta, or cereal, run the other way as fast as you can. It is enriched with fake Okay, sorry about that. I had a phone call. I had to mute. If you see the word enriched pasta cereals, it is enriched with fake vitamins and synthetics, all lab created, that cause unbelievable damage to the gut. The minerals in your body and your ability to absorb real vitamins that are out there. Non-enriched bread is very hard to find. One brand is that you can search for that is a really, really good brand is called Dave's Killer Bread. You can find it on Amazon if you need to, but look at the date, because a little issue with Amazon and out-of-date food. So with caution. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, rye, spelt, and barley. The word is derived from the Latin word to form glue because it's like elastic in the gut. Blocks of undigested proteins from the gluten slide down into the small intestines and slow the absorption of your nutrients. Our bodies look at gluten as foreign. The immune system attacks it. It is basically primed small intestines for digestive issues. The better alternative is coconut oil or coconut or almond flour. When people ask about major health issues, I found many resolved or greatly reduced by simply eliminating 100% of gluten. So at that point, they say that they're gluten intolerant. So if you have digestive issues, one of the first things I would cut out is gluten and sugar, and then slowly add them back in to see if they're the culprits. But you know that sugar kills bacteria. Gluten is like glue. It binds you up, so, doesn't let anything get absorbed. It puts a film over your intestinal wall, blocks things from being absorbed. And so that's why a lot of people have a lot of issues. Try it for 30 days. Take gluten out for 30 days, then work it back in. So maybe you found the culprit without having to do it for a full 30 days. That's part of what the GAPS diet is. Now our third one, sugar, gluten, dairy. The type of dairy you consume is absolutely critical. If it is raw, Jersey or Guernsey cow, fed or pasteurized and not fed any grain or given growth hormones or antibiotics, you're in great shape. Don't worry about your milk. Your dairy's good. Continue on. If you went and snagged a gallon at the grocery store instead of your local farmer, if PA, you can buy milk unpasteurized. In New York, you cannot. So know your sources for raw milk. But if you do get some from the store, if you are consuming milk, butter, yogurt, and cheese from cows that are continuously giving antibiotics, you are developing antibiotic resistance in your gut. Makes sense, right? These hormones they give cows increases your chances of becoming overweight and or getting cancer. When the milk is pasteurized, the natural enzyme, probiotics, and amino acids are all boiled and completely destroyed. It goes from a superfood to becoming poisonous. how you secure your dairy, how you secure your source, how you source your dairy, take it from one of the best foods in your diet to becoming one of the worst foods. Everything a cow gets injected, from ibuprofen, steroids, etc., goes directly into their milk production. A study found some pasteurized milk can be more inflammatory to the gut than gluten. I worked on a dairy farm. We were not allowed to have milk in the bulk tank that had any antibiotics in it. But when they boil it, they boil off all the good anyway. So in addition to that, pasteurized milk increases your exposure to glyphosate, a chemical compound which is found in Roundup, and we all know what's going on with Roundup. It's a leukemia causer. A pesticide and herbicide applied generally modified crops, which is fed to the cattle. Cattle eat it. They make the milk. You drink the milk. You get you get Roundup. If I didn't have a raw milk option near me, which I am so glad that I do, I would switch to almond milk, coconut milk, or goat's milk. Goat's milk is actually real gentle, and what our bodies are designed, our digestive system is designed to drink goat's milk over cow's milk from the get-go. From Creator created our digestive system. We were created to consume goat milk. We weren't created to consume cow's milk. I have a hard time with goat's milk, just to be honest, but if I grew up with it from a baby, it would be a different story. And like, we should be feeding our babies goat's milk, organic goat's milk. If I did not have raw milk near me, I would switch to almond milk, coconut milk, or goat's milk. You'd be amazed at how many places have raw milk. If you actually do some digging, you will. Like, if you're in upstate New York, go check out your local Amish. They'll be happy to sell you some raw milk. Actually, what you do in New York is you buy the cow from the farmer on books. Then you can get the milk that cow produces. Whoop, loophole. That's how I found out. That's how I got my raw milk before I started working for a farmer. Okay, but anyway, so if I'm taking out sugar and I'm taking out dairy and I'm taking out gluten, what's left for me to eat? Besides vegetables and protein, right? Fermented foods are probiotic powerhouses. In addition, foods that are fermented become nutritious storehouses. For example, when you eat sauerkraut, which is fermented, the amount of vitamin C is 20 times that of straight cabbage. With sauerkraut, well, yeah, because cabbage is what makes sauerkraut, in case people didn't know that. Fermentation also makes food more absorbent into the body. Refrigeration was only invented about 100 years ago. Every traditional culture, according to Natasha Campbell McBride, in her fermented their foods. They fermented everything from dairy, grains, meats, beans, vegetables, fruits, and fish. When cabbage was available in September, they made fermented cabbage and ate it for another 10 months. With every mouthful of fermented food, they ate trillions and trillions of beneficial bacteria, probiotics. Fermented foods are a relatively new concept to most people. Our generation, I didn't hear about fermented foods. I mean, I would make sauerkraut with my great-grandmother because she's German, and we would bury them out in the backyard. And I swear to God, there's still jars of buried sauerkraut in Philadelphia on Tulip Street. If you ever need sauerkraut, take one of the metal detectors to detect the lid. I mean, she'd have a crock pot down in the basement. Then we would can it. When she can it, she would bury it in the ground. But anyway, I don't like sauerkraut. Fermented foods are relatively new. Our generation and the 2 or 3 generations before us grew up with food from the grocery store. Mom was not growing cultures on the counter in a mason jar. Sourdough, I think. What are fermented foods? So here's a list of some. Kefir, water or milk. Water kefir can taste fizzy, like ginger ale. Milk can taste like runny yogurt. So we all know what kefir is, right? Homemade yogurt. If you have an Instapot, there is a button on there for yogurt. And it came with a cookbook. You can make your own yogurt and you don't have to add sugar. You can add maple syrup or honey. Okay, raw cheese. Coconut keef, make it with coconut milk instead of cow's milk. You can even make goat keef, kefir. Sauerkraut, kimchi, Chinese cabbage, kimchi, same kind of concept as sauerkraut. I like kimchi. I don't know why I don't like sauerkraut, but I do like kimchi. And some of the kimchi I have is a little spicy. Maybe that's it, because I like spice. So, I don't know. Kombucha. Now everybody's going around asking for Scoobies. I need a Scooby to make my new kombucha. That's why they want kombucha. Listen to the hippies, folks. They've had kombucha going on for centuries. Kvass, a drink that's made from fermented beets. I'll have to try that one. Pickles, pickled garlic, pickled vegetables. Anything pickled. Pickled green beans, pickled beets. Fermented sour cream or ketchup. Fermented ketchup, not Heinz. I have to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Thunderbolt there. Anytime you can make something at home, of course, we all know that it's better if it's homemade. You'll have more results than buying something in a store, because you know what's in there and you're not adding anything artificial. And if you grow your own foods and then make your own fermented foods, that's even better, But not everybody has the means or the ability to do that. So visit your local food or farmers markets in the summer, and even in the cities, folks. Go to your farmers market, get fresh organic produce, and go home and try practicing making fermented foods or pickling. Pickle your favorite vegetable, and then you're helping your gut when you want that late night snack while you're sitting there watching football, or you're watching a late night movie or something, and you just get them to sit down and munch when you're watching a video. Start eating your pickles or your fermented foods. Gives you something healthy to snack on. It's a win-win on two occasions. So, many of these recipes are very easy to make. In case you want sauerkraut, you just add salt and water. With keef and yogurt, you start with a culture. You add a little sugar with bacteria. It feeds. Sugar feeds bacteria. So in order for the bacteria, catch 22. Get rid of sugar, but you need sugar to feed bacteria. Good bacteria to feed your gut for good. Yeah, but a flavoring such as lemon or lime or ginger, and let's say a day or two. With pickled veggies, you can start with salt and water. With a fermented dairy like sour cream, you begin in raw milk warmed over the stove. It's how you make your milk, your yogurt. And you let it sit for 18 to 24 hours in a mason jar on your counter. With pickles, you add fermented vinegar and honey and spices and garlic, and they ferment 4 hours. So it's easy. There is a learning curve with fermented foods, simply because we are not used to them. Once you try a few of the recipes, you'll fall in love, and you'll know that you're helping your kids and your family's guts with fermented ketchup sour cream instead of ketchup from the store with corn syrup and sugar. So if you're making your own fermented sour cream or ketchup from yogurt, you're cutting out the sugar from the store. And they use high fructose corn syrup, which is a whole different thing. We won't get into that. And ketchup is one of the easiest things to make. You could do it with your 5-year-old. It's fun project to make with your 5-year-old, especially if they love it on their French fries, right? So it's a win-win. You're teaching them and you're helping yourself, their gut as well as your gut. My favorite site to order starter cultures is www.culturesforhealth.com. www.bonebrothrecipe.com. I recommend you start with some water kefirs. Keep it simple. Tastes like a little fizzy pop. Add a little ginger ale and lemon to make it like a ginger ale. And that's knockout good for you. Foods that heal your gut lining. There are a few superfoods that heal the gut lining, and that's where your bone broth comes in, your organic food and good fats. Then we'll wrap up with some supplements and a simple walkthrough of the GAP diet and some of my favorite family recipes to nourish the hurting head. So let's get into bone broth. Every type of bone broth out there when it comes to chicken, beef, fish, or lamb has been a staple in diets across the globe for millennia. Boil the bone, marrow, skin, feet, tendons, ligaments, and cartilage, and you have a superfood that was one of the fastest ways to rebuild the lining in your gut. In fact, with the first stage of the GAPS diet, it is the base of all you have because it is so nourishing and works so well. Those bones are boiled or simmered for hours or days, and they release things like collagen, proline, and glutamine, which help the arthritis, joint conditions, and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. One study found that peptides in bone broth restored the mucus lining in animals with leaky gut. Yes, animals have leaky gut. I know, surprise. But anyway, the broth is filled with things that are easy for the body to absorb, like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, silicone, sulfur, and amino acids that help with things like digestion, allergies, and asthma. Hello, asthmatic. I do a lot of bone broth. I make my own, yes. I'll just pretty much, if I do a roast, I'll boil the bone afterwards. If I have a barbecue and I'm grilling steak, I'll boil all the bones afterwards. So yeah, I make my own broth. Make a chicken or a turkey. I put it in a pot after we're done, and I just boil down that carcass. But anyways, you boil the bones, marrow, skin, feet, tendons, and cartilage, and you have a superfood that is one of the fastest rebuilding for your gut lining. In fact, with the first stage of the GAPS diet, it is the base of all you have for days. And they release things like I said, collagen, proline, glutamine, which helps the arthritis, joint conditions, and IBS. The broth is filled with things that are easy for the body to absorb: calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, silicon, sulfur, amino acids, and they help with things like digestion, allergies, and asthma. Make a big pot of it once a week and sneak it in everything from taco meat, spaghetti sauce, soups, and casseroles. My kids are all grown, so it's just my husband and I, and we started this Rev Up diet in March 2023, so we transitioned already, but so we do I don't have to sneak the bone broth, we just drink it. But if you have to sneak it in. Those are some hints for those with children, and bless you mothers, because you know there's chocolate zucchini bread for a reason. You can even make a white sauce out of the bone broth, lemon, thyme, and cashews. Hopefully that recipe's in here. You can even throw bone broth into a green or fruit smoothie, as long as you don't season it with salt. You can use homemade broth to replace water in any meal that is nourishing for your kids, and more than Gatorade, juicy juice, or antibiotic milk. The ideal amount of bone broth to consume per person is 1 to 2 cups per day for gut healing. I don't do that much, but I need to start. How do you make it? Well, you find a good chicken or a good hunk of meat. Make sure it's organic and non-GMO. Make sure it's not fed green. Put those bones in a crock pot and fill it with filtered water. I use what do you call them? Filters. I'll think of it later anyway. I have a water filter system that I use. It's just a charcoal filter. A Berkey. There you go. I use a Berkey filter. So you add your filtered water. Add a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and just let it go. If you do it in a crock pot, it takes about 12 hours. If you do it in an Instapot, it takes 2. So you get rich, gelatinous broth that is soothing to the gut lining, and it'll last 4 to 5 days in your fridge. If you have touched it and there is a layer of fat on the top, that's all the good stuff, just so you know. That's where all the good stuff is that big fat layer on top. It can last up to 6 months in your refrigerator. If you can't use it fast enough, you can freeze it and then thaw it out when you need it. I can mine, so I don't freeze it, I can it. So when I need it, I just open a can of bone broth and I have it. If you want to read more on bone broth, you can go to Weston Price website. Weston Price website. You can even find a chapter leader near you to get plugged into, and they will help you source food locally and loaded with garbage, not loaded with garbage. We've been told to shop the perimeter of the grocery store because that's where all the healthy stuff is, fruit, veggies, meats. But I'd encourage you to ditch the grocery stores altogether as you ditch and switch everything else with oils and infused products. I buy eggs, local lamb, raw honey, raw milk. Well, my honey I get myself, but I buy raw butter, raw milk, raw cream, local ice cream, homemade from the person I get my milk from. I just started trying lamb, so I do get organic lamb from a farmer, and I do get organic beef. I order once a month. I do not eat pork of any kind, personal choice. Not a religious choice, personal. But, and I buy beef tallow. That's my oil. Beef tallow, sunflower oil, no canola, no palm. Mainly beef tallow. And I get that from the butcher. I ask them. Sometimes they just give me the tallow, and I boil it down and make my own beef tallow. So if you want more information on that, you can ask me, and I'd be more than happy to teach you. And my sister in Virginia, she does it when, unfortunately, it's an unfortunate state, but her husband is a tracker, and sometimes he comes upon aggressive bears and they charge, and so they have to take them out. But she utilizes every part of the bear, and she makes bear tallow, and I love it when she gives me bear fat. But anyways, that's, check your sources. They're around, folks. Just saying, they're around. If you're in Harrisonburg, Virginia, there's a lot of places for, that's one state that is so good on raw products. Okay. When you go organic, yeah, I know it's too expensive, but it's really not. Once you start, it's really not, because when you change your diet, you're not eating garbage. You're not eating soda. You're not eating potato chips. You're not buying cookies. So that money that you're not spending on stuff that has ruined your gut, you put into things that are going to heal your gut. And then you eat less. So you spend less on groceries. And you're buying better healthy foods. So you do end up having the money for organic. It's a myth when they say it's too expensive. It's really not. When you stop buying the junk foods that you're buying, and when you really see how much money you save on your grocery bill because you're not buying the junk foods and you're buying whole, good, natural, healthy foods, you'll be amazed. It's phenomenal how much money you really save going organic. But anyway, when you go organic, you're cutting pesticides, herbicides, and GMOs out. You are getting more nutrients. Over a 200-year study, the Journal of Applied Nutrition found out that organic apples, pears, potatoes, and corn had 63% more calcium, 73% more iron, and 118% more magnesium than non-organic produce. But isn't organic more expensive? Yes. On average, naturally, you pay 25% more than non-organic food. This is unless, of course, you really get good at sourcing, buying in bulk from farmers and getting creative, like growing your own ferments and starting a garden, even a tiny little herb garden on your patio or balcony. You can grow food in an apartment. You need to consider the cost elsewhere. Remember the list of ailments in the first couple of paragraphs of this class. Remember the ailments? Oh, I lost my place. What you have to go through to treat these conditions is significantly more emotional and financially taxing. To sustain the pain of the disease, okay? You have irritable bowel syndrome, you're going to take a prescription drug, correct? What is that prescription drug costing you? You have a copay, $20, 50%. I mean, okay? So what you have to go through to treat those conditions is significantly more emotional and financially taxing than a 25% increase in your grocery budget. There you go. It's what I was saying. You're going to pay more to eat unhealthy than you will to eat healthy and organic. It'll take a few months to notice the difference, but you will definitely notice the difference. I had people on my team do a Young Living business solely for the goal of increasing their grocery budget enough to buy organic food. So they're selling Young Living and they're taking their paycheck and buying organic food. That's another way to build your business, get free product, get cash paid, get a paycheck every month, use that paycheck because it's a bonus paycheck to buy your organic food. So you're on a win-win. Where do you find the best organic foods? That's the hard part. That is really the hard part because your neighbors' pesticides, when they're spraying it, are going to go on your organic garden because the wind blows and it's going to blow pesticides. So how do you avoid that? And where do you go to get good organic foods? Well, you get plugged in with your local farmer's market. You frequent several of them in your area. So you go to this one on Thursday, you go to this one on Saturday, you go to that one on Tuesday. You plug in to your local. I know in Corning there's 4 different ones. There's one in Painted Post. There's one in Corning. So look around for your farmer's market. Consider buying in bulk. I buy a quarter of a cow to a half a cow every year, so that's bulk. It saves me tons of money because it averages out at $5 a pound. So you're saying, but that's $5 for hamburger a pound. Yes. But my porterhouse is also $5 a pound, not $35 a pound that you have to pay for at the grocery store. So the whole half a cow averages out to be $5 a pound. Ferment, dehydrate, and freeze as much as you can. So if you buy stuff at the grocery store, we all know it today, like if I buy strawberries today, in 2 days they're going to start molding. What I don't use, I freeze. Yeah, save money. I'm not throwing it away. I'm not buying it to throw it away in 2 days. What I don't eat in 2 days, I will freeze. And then on the 3rd day, I can pull it out of the freezer and thaw it and bring it to room temperature. That's fine. I can. If you don't can, that's okay. Ask a friend if they mind showing you or doing it, or offer them some of your stuff if they show you how to do it. I mean, barter system in America is phenomenal. If you live in rural America, like Appalachia, you know the benefits of bartering. I didn't believe in bartering until I moved to upstate New York. And I'm going to tell you what, Steuben County is great barters. I've gotten so much stuff just from bartering. Barter food. Trade them. Organic foods for service that you have. Barter. Get plugged in with your local neighbors, in other words. If you can't find a local farmer's market, do a quick search for Weston Price. They will get you plugged in. Weston Price. You want to get plugged in. If you live in remote area, you can consider large sourcing companies like U.S. Wellness Meats or Butcher Block, who have organic meats. Do those organic, healthy door food server deliveries once a week. Get a good, healthy meal. Good fats. They also fall into a weird category. Everything you learned about fat is untrue, most likely untrue. There are good fats and there are bad fats, just like the word dairy. Your brain needs about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of good fat every single day. Yes, your brain needs healthy fat. Fat is brain food. Good fats are, your brain needs about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of good fat every single day. Good fats are coconut oil. I love to order from a site called Tropical Traditions. You can order coconut oil from them. Grass-fed butters, avocados, avocado oil, tallow, lard. Lard, by the way, is 90% pork fat. Just in case people are wondering what lard was. Lard is pork fat. Some of it used to be cow, but 90% of it today is pork. Olive oil. These oils are not to have been heated. So you want non-heated, as in the heat isn't when they hydrogenate something, they boil it at a high heat temperature. You don't want your oils to have been boiled at high temperatures. Ghee, everybody know what ghee is? Flaxseed oil. Okay, so those are the oils. Let's see, we have coconut oil, grass-fed butter, avocado oil, tallow, lard, olive oil that's not been heated, ghee, and flaxseed oil. So there was a study done at the University of Maryland that showed that omega-3 and fats were good to treat high cholesterol. A study at the University of Maryland showed omega-3s and fats were good to treat high cholesterol and heart disease. Good fats are healthy for you. Your brain needs them. Your heart needs them. Bad fats are your trans fats. They act like a poison in the body. 90% of canola oil or vegetable oil are made from genetically modified plants, GMO plants. Partially hydrated oils and most boxed or canned foods, they all have fats that have been injected with hydrogen at high temperatures. These are trans fats and they have been linked to birth defects, cancers, diabetes, heart disease, liver problems, obesity, and sterility. Yeah, they'll sterilize you. If you see any of those oils on the side of a box, run the other way. Put the box down. You do not want it in your cart. So what can you eat again? Oh, God. Well, we've knocked out sugar. We've knocked out enriched breads, most grains, just about all processed boxed foods because of hydrogenated oil. Most dairies, anything sprayed with a pesticide or herbicide, any non-organic or non-GMO foods. Those you cannot eat. Yes, you can eat real food. Just like our one ingredient oil sourced with seed to seal, you are now cooking with one ingredient foods and nourishing your family's bodies one meal at a time. Don't go out and buy a month's worth of food. Cook a meal, try it again. Try it again and try it again. So then you can cook a whole week and then go and buy your groceries once you started acclimating one meal a week into maybe 2 meals a week. So let's see what a 2-day menu in my world really looks like. Okay. Breakfast. If you make your own, fresh from scratch, ackee bowl with shredded coconut and homemade granola. Watch the sugar content in an ackee bowl if you purchase it from a fast food store. So I do a protein shake. I make sure I have 1 cup of vegetables, 1 cup of fruit. Sometimes I put yogurt in there, sometimes I don't, but I do a protein shake in the morning and I add all of my Young Living powder supplements and my Ningxia Red into that smoothie. If not, then I try and have banana protein pancakes. I try to have a bowl of fresh fruit. I try to get or eggs. I try and get protein, whether it's fish, chicken, or eggs. I try and have protein in the morning, even steak, protein powder. So that's what my breakfast mainly is. Lunch, I try again and have like 3 or 4 slices of chicken or turkey breast or a protein, and have a small, like a half a cup, a couple of carrots or a couple of celery sticks or cucumbers or bell peppers. Try to have a little fresh vegetables. That fiber helps your digestive system push poop out. So I try to make sure I have a lot of fiber-ish foods for lunch, protein, fruits, veggies. You can do a bento box with diced vegetables or homemade dip. Try and learn how to make things. I try and drink keef, have a keef drink or a kombucha, something fermented, get your stomach moving. Chicken seasoned with home fajita seasonings, grapes, blueberries, raw cheese, and sometimes nuts. Like I eat pistachios or pecans. I'm not a walnut person, but walnuts are wonderful, and I should start eating more walnuts because they are a great source of healthy fat, amongst other vital nutrients. Dinner is, again, a protein, and I try not to eat after 5, 6 at the latest. So I have 2 hours before I go to bed to get my digestive system to digest. But again, I try to have a cup of vegetables, 3/4 of a cup of a healthy starch, rice, sweet potato, beans, and then my protein. And that's usually fish, lamb, beef, chicken, turkey. So, day 2, repeat day 1. Day 3, repeat day 1 and 2. No, but you can mix it up. So if on day 1 you had an ackee bowl with shredded coconut, then on day 2 you can have a mango cream smoothie with 6 servings of spinach added. And your collagen bone broth you can add in your smoothies. So you can get your cup of bone broth every day by mixing it in a smoothie. And you can add things to make that taste good. So, don't say, oh, I don't like smoothies. You can make it taste without sugar. You can add different things. So don't give up. Look on the web for delicious bone broth smoothie recipes. I mean, the World Wide Web today, you can find everything and anything at the snap of your finger. So sometimes for lunch the next day I'll have the leftovers from the night before at dinner if I make enough, and so they it saves food. And then for dinner, add a different vegetable, different meat. different starch, just try and make sure you have 20 grams of protein, 1 cup of vegetables. So you need 4 cups of vegetables a day, 4 cups of fruit a day, 4 3/4 servings of protein, 1 3/4 cup of starch, healthy starch, and then a tablespoon of 2 of healthy fats. And you restart your gut to better health. And that irritable bowel syndrome or diverticulitis or Crohn's or whatever, they'll start lessening and lessening. The more good foods and probiotics that you put into your digestive system, the better your health is going to be in the long run. There's just so many places I could tell you to start learning. So here's some of the favorites that we have. Any of Danielle Walker's cookbooks. The sesame orange chicken recipe is in her book. It's Against All Grains. So there's a great chicken casserole recipe in there, and Meals Made Simple. So that again is Danielle Walker's cookbooks. Any of those. Empowered Sustances, an amazing blog. If you like cheesy chicken casserole with 5 ingredients. So let's see, we have shredded chicken, apple cider vinegar, which is a fermented food, peas, coconut oil, parade butternut squash, which tastes like cheese. See, you're learning. What can you use to give something a cheesy taste? Butternut squash. Detoxin Stop, DetoxinInsta.com. She has a zucchini cheesecake recipe. Just saying. Try and help y'all out. So yeah, some things you can find by stumbling on them accidentally. You can do the same thing, probing and asking questions. Well, I hope this class fills your heart and deepens your gut area. I know that you want to do better for you and your family, but the reality is most of us, we weren't taught to cook. My mom didn't teach me how to cook. I learned in school from home economics, which they don't offer today. So, find somebody that likes to cook to teach you how to cook. Don't raise your kids on peel and eat packaged processed food. Get back to the basics, back to basic cooking, single ingredient foods. Now that doesn't mean you don't put anything in the bowl. That means each ingredient you put into a bowl is a single ingredient. You put in the carrots, you put in the lettuce, you put in the spices. You make a dish from scratch. You don't pull the freezer open, pull out a TV tray, pop it in the microwave. Microwave's a different story. But anyway, get back to the basics. So do the best you can. One meal a week, start off with, then go to 2 meals a week. And then the next time, try 3 meals a week. Increase your healthy meals. Because when you change all at once, it becomes overwhelming. So building blocks and steps. Take your time, but don't procrastinate. Okay? 1 week doesn't mean you do 1 meal for a year. No, I'm saying the first week, incorporate 1 healthy organic dish. The second week, incorporate 2. Okay. There's 2 more things I want to touch on quickly before I close out this Zoom class. I told you I would give you some tips on the GAPS, which is GAPS is gut and psychological syndrome. Goal 1, diet. clean up the digestive tract so it stops being the biggest source of toxicity in your human body. 2, supplementation. After you cut things out, start putting good things in so you absorb the nutrients better. Okay? Goal 3, detoxification and lifestyle changes so that it doesn't happen again. Once you heal your gut, you don't want to go back to it becoming all messed up again. So let's take a look at goal 2, supplementation. I won't go into much detail on this because we have a whole class on Young Living supplements. But there are 3 things that are gut related that I feel that are very important. One is our probiotics. Here are some little known facts about what probiotics do. They are beneficial species of organisms that provide healthful benefits. They do not colonize you, but do provide substantial benefits. They can help clear infections from the gut. They can be as effective as an antibiotic in treating infections. They can resolve imbalances in the gut. They return the gut microbiome to normal from antibiotics. They stimulate the immune system and enhance your gut's productive mucous membrane. They help with weight loss, insulin resistance, celiac disease, and a host of other ailments. They support liver detoxification. They help the kidneys cleanse. They help the bowels eliminate toxins. If you're not pooping 2 hours after every meal, then you have backed up stuck poop, because your digestive system should digest what you eat at least every 2 hours. That is what is so important about getting rid of toxins, and why enzymes are essential, and getting your gut bile is essential to eliminate toxins. They produce vital nutrients in the body like vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, and enzymes. The probiotics have been shown in studies to fight against anxiety and depression. They help with cognitive functions. Have I made a strong enough case for prebiotics? This is one of the top supplements for a healthy gut. In fact, it's crucial. So with our new GLP-1, you still need to get your gut healthy for that to be at its max. Yeah, it's going to help and you're going to see results. But if you want the max, you need the prebiotics as well. So it's like I said, it's building blocks. Start with a prebiotic. Get your gut healing. Enzymes in a nutshell. Enzymes create chemical reaction in the body. They speed up the rate of chemical reaction to help support life. The enzymes in your body do important tasks like building muscles, destroying toxins, and breaking down food so that you get the nutrition from what you eat. In short, you are your digestion, your digest. According to Dr. Joseph Mercola, the website is great to follow. The protein that will slow nearly every inflammatory disease is an enzyme. Here's a brief list of some of the things that enzymes do. They energy production, absorption of oxygen, fight infection and heal wounds, reduce inflammation, get nutrients to your cells, carry away toxins, break down fats in your blood, regulate cholesterol and triglyceride levels, dissolve blood clots, help with proper hormone regulation. They slow the aging process. Enzymes, who knew? 90% of Americans buy processed foods. Diets are heavily cooked, processed, and sugary, combined with overuse of pharmaceutical drugs and antibiotics, deplete your body's ability to make enzymes. If you heat your food above 116 degrees, it renders most enzymes in your food inactive. If it's one reason you need to mix cooked and raw foods in your diet so you get enough enzymes. If you don't have enough enzymes, you'll see it in forms of constipation, bloating, cramping, flatulent, belching, heartburn, and acid reflux. As it progresses, you get malnourished. Chronic malabsorption leads to a bunch of other illnesses. If you do not have the nutritional building blocks you need, you cannot recover from illnesses. By the time you are 20, natural enzyme production starts to decline, and every 10 years, your body production of enzymes is down by 13%. So every 10 years you age, you drop 13% of your ability for your body to absorb enzymes with a bad gut. The answer, GAPS. GAPS is a lot more effective than you are at absorbing the nutrients you are spending so much time in the kitchen preparing. Don't waste your time. Take an enzyme. Omega-3, 6, 9, and 12s help everything in your body communicate. So make sure you take your omegas. When your soldiers talk to each other, they win battles. So does your body's cell structures. When they are talking to one another, they are fighting and winning battles inside your body. What are those systems that they are fighting? Well, we start with the one. It's called your heart. Connective memory and learning, blood sugar levels, joints, brain and nervous system, liver, cholesterol levels, mood, and they fight inflammation. Where do you get them? Well, you get them from wild-caught cold water fish, grass-fed meats, and sprouted seeds and nuts. Primarily 90% of Americans are deficient in DHA and EPA, important omega-3 fatty acids. Yeah, 95% of Americans are deficient in omega fatty acids. Each of these supplements play a role in helping the GAPS diet work faster and helping your body to heal more quickly. You can stay on the diet for 2 to 10 years or whenever you need a reboot. So, can I get any oils in this lecture? I'll give you one. I realize you're going through oil deprivation at this point because we always talk about essential oils. So I haven't talked about any. So let's see. A 2015 study published in PLOS, PLOS1, found frankincense protected the tight junctions of the gut from damage caused by inflammation. The study's author noted that frankincense oil was effective for leaky gut syndrome. In other words, take a capsule of frankincense vitality oil every day, especially if you are on a diet like the GAPS diet or any type of gut protocol. Does frankincense replace good diet? Supplementation, food sourcing, and cutting toxins? No. You heard me earlier. You cannot use an oil to band-aid a lifestyle decision. But oils complement what you are doing already. They assist the body in the work that it's being trained to do on its own. Therefore, it makes oils valuable in the discussion of clean living. Goal 3 on the GAP, the final goal is a lifestyle change. You have to have a change in your lifestyle. Plain simple. The best way to train you on conviction is with a story. The next thing about this story is that it's a true story. Perhaps you've listened to this class and you're thinking of all the things that I said at the beginning. It's too hard. I'm fine. I don't know enough. The problem is that the cost of not learning is extremely high. The story is of a professor. His name is Tim Spector. He's actually quite famous. He is a professor of genetic epidemiology at King's College in London. He made a deal with his son that if he'd let him study his gut, he would buy him McDonald's for 10 straight days. He wanted to have a peek at his microbiome. Tom was quite elated about the idea because he loved McDonald's. And free McDonald's, well, what was better? He was in college. Free is always better when you're in college, right? For 10 days, Tom ate a Big Mac or Chicken McNuggets with a fries and a Coke. He ate nothing but McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He gave a stool sample before, during, and after his fast food feast. After a week and a half, he had become very weak. His skin had taken on a grayish color. He was craving salads and fruit. Teams from both Cornell University and the British Gut Project tested Tom's microbiome. His community of gut bacteria had been disseminated. Tom lost 1,400 species, 40% of what was his entire gut tract in a week and a half. It took him months to heal. Maybe fast food is not your Achilles heel. Maybe it's a sugary coffee in the morning. It may be that your grocery budget is a fraction of what it needs to be, so you've been cutting corners for a long time to save cash. Especially with inflation. I mean, groceries are expensive. I get it. Please hear me. Please hear me. Turn your hearing things on. You are worth it. It is worth it. Your gut is worth it. The cost is worth it. What you put in your body is so important. Ask yourself always, what is nourishing my family's body in the meals that I make and prepare for them? Is it loaded with enriched pastas, breads, and rice? Does it contain processed box sauces, synthetic ingredients, hydrogenated oils, and lab-created sugars? Are there any vegetables? Do I have any fermented foods? Any rich bone broth? Proteins, good fats? What am I feeding my family? You are so convicted about what you allow in your home. You don't want bright blue dish soap on your counter or toxic shampoo in your kid's bathroom. But what is there poisoning in your fridge? That has to stop. That's your journey too. Yes, there's a huge learning curve. Yes, it takes time. Yes, the ingredients can be more expensive. Yes, the work is worth it. It's worth it all. Check out the resource section in the lecture to learn where to start. You can do this. You can. Your family, their gut is worth it. Ask yourself where you begin. Weston Price near you. www.westonprice.com. Actually, www.weston.org. Check out local farmers market and start sourcing good ingredients. Pick up a cookbook by Danielle Walker and start making dinners you love that nourish your family. The secret to hiding vegetables in desserts. If you up for the GAP diet and are all in, begin going by gapsdiet.com. There's a food list of what you can eat and what you can't eat. The diet occurs in 6 stages. Your skin tested for sensitivity in order to progress in the next stage. It starts with bone broth. I recommend you get Natasha Campbell McBride's Gut and Psychology. and you read it from cover to cover before you even begin to start. There is also a supplement book called The Heal Your Gut Cookbook by Hilary Boynton. That is phenomenal if you don't understand some of the foods that you need to make, like cultured sour cream or fermented water kefir. It sounds a little crazy, and it's a lot of work, but the change is worth it to you and your family. Order supplements. Start cutting ingredients. If you cannot take on the GAPS diet right now but want to learn on this topic and start making small changes, I recommend another book by Young Living Diamond Stacy Kimbrell called Living Balanced Healthy Mind and Body Reference Guide. They're a bit heavier, but I also love the book by Sally Fallon Morale, especially the book Nourishing Traditions. It is the standard for cooking in the entire clean living world. If you're not convinced that soy is bad for you, check out this book. I can't do soy. It tears me up. So the book is The Whole Soy Story by Dr. Kayla Daniels. Fats. Eat Fat, Lose Fat by Dr. Mary Ing. ENIG. There's a wonderful Facebook group by Young Living Platinum. Brandy Gorslin that focuses on clean living. Join it and check out the file section, Unbelievable Resources. The name of the group is Clean Living Coach. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions on the gut class or to improve your gut health, reach out to me. I'm here. I'm here to teach. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help. I struggled with acid reflux. I struggled with diverticulitis. Notice the words struggled. If you want to be struggle-free, contact me. Peace out. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for coming.